different from what we speak. I mean, what we speak is different from what we do, what we live.
Absolutely.
So that irony is what drives me. So yeah, that's about it. Now coming back to this story, it was, I mean, it's apart from the external influence of the story, the world of it, which all of us are pretty much aware of.
Yep.
We know the times, we know the anxiety. It's not a standalone thing which these two women were facing or their kids were facing. It's something which all of us are pretty aware of and resonate with. But beyond that, while the second wave was going on, there was a help who was working with us a part time, and we could see she was desperately looking for work and things were closed down, and she wanted a full time job. And she was requesting us every now and then that, if it's better for her because a lot of her jobs were already gone. She wanted a full time job. And one day she called us, she said, probably I won't be able to come from tomorrow because I've got a job somewhere. And I asked her, out of concern and because the things were started, it had started opening up, but still it was not like back to normal. So we did ask, okay, what is it like? We understand that you got a job probably and that's why you're not coming from tomorrow, but what is it? We were like, yeah, I have to take care of a patient. And
Sure.
so yeah, we kind of figured what patient, and we were like, I'll be gone for a week or 10 days, and maybe, I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good, then we're good.
Either way.
It's
yeah.
on, it's on, it's on.
It's on? Okay.
No, but I understand what you're saying because, I mean, you were even talking about that irony, right? And you can see something like that in the film when it comes to the way that, I don't know, the auntie, the way that she kind of acts towards a person who's a different socioeconomic class and how she speaks to them, right?
Absolutely.
And it's whether you value someone as a person in the same way that you value them, if that was an equal economic class, right? There's literally, you can see the difference in the way you speak and the way you act.
I'm glad you figured that. In fact, not only the woman, but her husband, who is infected himself.
Yes.
And when he asks, okay, when he knows that the help is gonna come to be with them, and the first thing he says is, "Tum thoda dur hi rehna."
Yep.
And this is the man who can possibly infect anyone because he's the one who's ill right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. And while a lot of things were, I mean, the anxiety or the challenges were, I would say, not just about the healthcare that was there. There were a lot going on. There were many layers to what exactly we were dealing with.
Yep.
Within the four walls of our houses, outside of that, at our job place, then there was this class hierarchy and all those things.
Yeah.
So
At the end of the day,
yeah.
who do we care about?
Who do we care about?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Anything else you would maybe want to add, Priyanka?
Yeah, I think while that is true, at the same time, a lot, in some ways, it also brought people together. And that's why the title Together, because at the end of the day, the virus spared no one. And at some level, we all had to become, we had to kind of leave all what do I say, ego behind and everything, because at some point it became so bad that, we just needed help from wherever we can get it. And so that's another aspect of it that, sort of, I was moved by, and I was also moved by how much that people were trying to do, in order to help at this, in this scenario, which was out of control and nobody really could. We saw, there was a time when we were doing whatever little we could, in terms of distributing food and everything, but
Sure.
it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Nothing was enough. So, yeah, we were basically influenced a lot. I think, and this film was just an outlet, just a tiny outlet of everything that we felt and observed.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, of course, with this festival being in the U.S., and the film being set in India, I think that it's important also, I wanted to ask about how do you think the film speaks on the experience of the pandemic from the Indian perspective, understanding that, in America there's a lot different reaction when it comes to the pandemic. How do you think this relates when it comes to, do you believe the perspective is unique or novel compared to that as an American, compared to that as an Indian? I don't know if either of you want to answer, or at least talk about kind of maybe the perspective as an Indian compared to an American.
I think I don't know exactly what happened here, so
Sure.
I cannot really compare it. But like I said, I do know that there was a time, when we got the second wave, when the virus was the most deadly and lots of deaths happened. And that was the time which was scary. And some of the, what we have brought in, what we've included in the film, the part of, the parents being away and the children being away and cannot make it, back to their old parents and,
Yep.
so
Yeah, one of the characters is on the phone. She's only
Yes.
spoken through
Yeah.
through the phone. Yeah.
So it was a really helpless situation. So the only thing is that I mean, as filmmakers, what we are trying to say is that it was helpless for both the socioeconomic classes. It wasn't just one class that was suffering. And yeah, I mean that in a way it was an equalizer.
Sure.
The pandemic, I think,
Sure.
in some ways.
And then also, I know both of you had writing credits. How does the collaborative writing process work? Is it you're working together in a room? Is it you pass drafts back and forth? How did that work?
We don't write together.
So okay, we started like that, and then we felt that okay, there is a lot of discussion and very little work happening.
Yeah.
So what do? Whoever we decide, okay, whoever is going to come up with a draft, or we have a conversation, we have the bullets, and we know what we are going to develop next, and like whichever of us, either she does it,
Sure.
I'll do it, because we have been writing together, even our other projects.
Sure.
So we develop the scenes, and then we have like a session or two in a week wherein we go through them, and then we have our differences or agreements, and then arrive at whatever
Yeah.
we have right now.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
basically he wrote the base, and I sort of gave my critique on it, and sort of because we co-produced the film as well, and he's the producer who believes in spending a lot of money, and I'm the producer who believes in saving a lot of money. So for me, the thing is that if I read the script and I feel that
This has to go
it's
out,
beyond the
this has
scope
to
of
go
our
out.
budget, and
Sure.
we need to cut it down.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking
so
about.
I'm that kind of a writer that I like to cut things down, that okay, this it's becoming redundant, not needed. So that's my contribution to the whole writing process.
Sure.
adding to that, just now Sugandha was saying, why did you choose Delhi instead of Mumbai? And I was amazed that okay, you can figure out this is Delhi. I'm really glad about it, because the original draft that I had was actually Delhi for everyone. So anybody who sees can know that okay, this is a Delhi story.
Mm.
You know it because you've been living in Delhi.
Sure.
Now those were the parts wherein the producer comes into the picture and like, okay, it's a pandemic story. We don't have to go out a lot.
Mm.
Okay, it has to be restricted. Fine, we can do away with this, and we can save ourselves some money. So probably the post production or whatever we have to deal with later.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same everywhere with independent stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then one last question before we can leave it for audience if anyone has any questions. I do want to ask, so you said the collaborative process for writing.
But I'm sorry for cutting you, because
No worries.
the funny part is it's a very peculiar collaboration. You don't have your co-writer also acting as co-producer.
Sure.
So
Sure. No, I mean it's a joint
That
process,
brings in a
right?
lot of that new dimension.
Sure.
And the cinematographers.
And the
I also
cinematographer.
cut.
So
I,
she-
That's
she
what I
is a
wanted to
cinematographer,
ask you.
yeah.
I also cut down things that I feel that it cannot be shot in our budget. So let's not.
No gimmicks.
So it listed you as director of photography, and really, I think that I would love to hear of how you planned some of the shots, how you thought through what the visual style would look, and then also how maybe the collaborative process was with that too. I think that was really a really strong part of the film, and I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
I think my cinematography mostly comes from documentaries because I shoot a lot of documentaries.
Sure.
And I try and keep it as minimal and as realistic as possible. And in this film, because of budget constraints, we couldn't really afford a lot of gear. So it was just shot on an A7S III.
Yep. Tripod.
And
keep it simple. Yeah.
yeah, and pretty much natural light. So even our another person who was helping us with production, at some point he asked me the question that, isn't it that we, so these are all real locations, and it's not easy to shoot at real locations in India specifically because of the crowd aspect, and there's a lot of meddling that happens.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Sure.
So to shoot in a real location. And so yeah, we were pretty much chasing light everywhere. So our production person would ask me that, isn't it that we finish one setup first and then we move on to the next area and everything? I was like, yeah, that happens if you have the control scenario. We don't have control, so we are just pretty much running from one room. So if I have light in this room, because the light is changing,
now,
so I'm shooting in that room and then I'm moving into the other room, and then so all of that happened. In terms of the script, honestly, we couldn't plan a lot beforehand because a lot was going to depend on the
Location.
when we did the recce, we sort of saw the place and we sort of visualized that okay, it's going to work out fine because this house was nice.
Sure.
The slum not so much, the shanties where we shot later on, but we had to make do with whatever we have. So that was our process.
Yeah.
Nothing
I mean,
overly planned.
something simple, even that works.
Having said that, now that we're talking about lighting, I must give credit to Priyanka for a particular shot. You see that this scene wherein the early morning where uncle falls
Yes.
and then auntie overhears and she runs, so
Yep.
does the help. So we were done with it in the morning, and whatever you see right now, apart from that room where we show uncle,
Yeah.
the bigger room, the living room where
Yeah.
we see both of the
When they
women
run
running, was shot in the morning as per our schedule, and later we realized that there is some
Hair continuity
some
issue.
Oh,
hair
sure.
continuity issue, and it's 11-12 night already, and we are anyway running out of time, and there is no way this could be done the way we did. But then after she was like, no, you have to, whatever, I don't know, you have to deal with this. I said, okay, fine. I mean, I cannot be asking to do this right now and be reasonable at the same time. But then after finishing whatever we were, she came back to that, recreated that day
Yeah.
at like 1-2 at night.
Yep.
So what you see right now is actually past midnight.
Yeah. It's just a short clip.
Yeah, it
Less
is.
than
It
a
is.
second.
Yeah.
Sure.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
It's-
I didn't even. No one noticed. No one noticed.
yeah. It's something that you have to do in cinematography. It's not
Yep.
it's not a very big thing, but it's just that in those scenarios when you don't have the time, when the location person wants to throw you out, you've
Yep.
you've gone beyond the time,
Yep.
then it's sort of and you don't have the space
Yep.
to do the lighting. So then it becomes a little bit challenging. But yeah.
No, and the shot I wanted to highlight was when the small kid, he's on the phone for the very first time, and something is wrong, and then you do the quick pan to the right, and you see the girl laying down, and that's something that makes your heart sink, and something like that was really cool to see. But yeah, do we have any questions from the audience? Any comments? Anything? Go ahead.
So I'm very pleased to hear about the lighting because I did notice. I noticed how the lighting was shining on the face. It was clearly a morning, and you know the way you have played with the lighting in this movie was beautiful. I wanted to point that out, and. My second question, first was a comment, this is the first question only, is how do you handle creative differences, though, because you're co-producers, co-writers, so basically one cannot get away by, you know, saying, okay, this has to be done this way. So how do you handle that? Does it ever come to a point where, you know, both are not ready to move an inch?
Oh, it does. A lot of times. So our thumb rule is, whatever it is, it has to come out. You cannot have a conversation, have your differences, go back and keep it, you know, just keep it inside you, because then in that case the work is going to stop tomorrow and then day after, and that is going to reflect. And when you decide to let things out, it's like pretty natural that you will have your arguments, you'll have your sometimes loud disagreements, but the thumb rule is you have to say it out. So yeah, that's one way that we have figured out that we have to deal with, because we have to do it anyway, and we know that, you know, unless we are on the same page, and for that to happen, that disagreement is really important. Whatever it is, it has to come out and just be done with it and move on.
Yeah, basically we do fight, but then we're also solution finders. We like to find the solution and not remain stuck on the problem. So that helps us.
It was a treat to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions, comments? Go ahead.
Hi, had a comment, just that I loved your ability to kind of sit with the emotion, that the camera stayed on someone, and you know, you could imagine what the person was feeling. I really just loved that.
Thank you.
And I also loved the ending where the woman realizes that she can help. That was just so beautifully done. So love the movie.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Means a
much.
lot.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
And
so
thank
much.
you all, yeah.
It was a
And
lovely
thank you for
session.
coming.
Great work, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah.